Boom. That is what I wanted to see. That is what I wanted to see. All right. Very good, very good. Now, why don't we go ahead and let's go. Perfect. Yep. Skip survey. And let's go. Put it right here. Beautiful. Life is beautiful, everybody. Even better when everything is coming down and only the real ones are here. You know, fam, better things are coming. Your crypto and everything is gonna be all just fine. All my friends and yours truly and you, fam, are here locked in already. Thank you, Ghost. Shout out to my Ghost fam. I see Brandon White in the house. I see a lot of people here. We got another FOMC, ladies and gents. We got a poll. Please tell me, what do you think Jerome Powell is gonna do for this FOMC? Will he hike? Will he pause? Will he cut? Or will he just say, I'm out, resign, and sayonara? Dude, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm seeing that your comments right here. I'm gonna go ahead and increase the brightness so I can see them better. Perfect. Comments are looking Gucci. You have, if there's something everyone here fears, is this. Are you ready to hear this? Listen up.
Good afternoon.
That's it. Sell everything. Oh my God. You know, come on, everybody. You know. I fear nothing. Drop a like, everybody. Consider subscribing to the channel. Turn on those notification bells. Welcome. Oscar live for another FOMC, and very happy to see each and every one of you. It's been 40 days or so since the last one. You'll recall that was mid-September 2025 when we got the first ever in 2025 25 basis point. That was pretty exciting. Didn't do much. In fact, we collapsed. We got our first cut, and Pumptober came, not like Pumptober, and we got clapped really nice. But there's a reason why, and I may have the answer here. South Korea gifted a gold crown to President Trump. Look at this.
We present this gold crown to you on this joyous occasion of your state visit to Gyeongju because it symbolizes the spirit of Silla, which brought peace to the Korean Peninsula for the first time, and the opening of the golden age of the Korea-US alliance.
Oh my, I mean, the left is gonna have a feast on this. So now Trump has a gold crown, and you can see the AI right there. So yep, that is Donald J. Trump, everybody. Oh man, you know what's gonna happen, of course. Yeah, you know. What is that? Everybody's here live. Pretty awesome. This is the classic one. This is the classic. You know, we have to play it a little bit every time we are about to listen to Jerome Powell.
Fuck your fucking options. Fuck your fucking zero DTE calls. Fuck the economy. Fuck inflation. Fuck your soft landing.
AI. We love AI. Can't believe it. fam. Come on, everybody. I mean, we have to do it every single time we do it. Oscar, play us some music. I won't because it kind of messes everything up, but I'm the music, everybody. Just my nice tunes today. Praise God. My voice is much better. Precisely what I need for this FOMC. In about 50 minutes or so, guys, we're going to be listening to, we're going to be seeing, right, what the actual result by the Fed is going to be like, whether it's going to be a cut, when it's going to be a hike or so. Obviously, I think everybody here today, we all want to see a cut. I'll put it this way. If we have a nice pump, it's probably because we got a 50 basis point cut. How likely is that to happen? Not very likely. This guy is not gonna do something it's unexpected. He won't do that.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people.
Yeah, he's been saying the same thing for the last forever. And just so I, tell everybody, this is not the live one. This is back in July 30th. If you want to find the most recent one, it's this one. No, where's the September one? Where's the September one? I don't see it. Maybe it's here. Maybe they moved it. Hey, here it is. Hey. Here it is. Are you ready? Are you ready? Here it comes. Oh no. Oh no. Prepare the shorts. Prepare the shorts.
Good afternoon.
It's over. Sell. There it is. What's up? More Gut in the house. Brandon White in the house. Cool Cat Cosmos in the house. Planets, what's up, everybody? Welcome, Planets. I just sold. Good job. Good job, Ghost. Good job. Dump it. Dump it. Every single time he says good afternoon, you have to dump it.
My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people.
You notice he says the same thing over and over? So we just listened to the July 30th and the September 17th. It's the same thing, of course.
The unemployment rate remains low. It has edged up. Job gains have slowed, and downside risks to employment have risen. At the same time, inflation has risen recently and remains somewhat elevated.
So I am playing this one just to kind of compare how he's going to start the one today and how he phrased the one 40 days ago. So he's addressing that inflation has risen, basically.
In support of our goals and in light of the shift in the balance of risks, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by 0.25 percentage point.
There it is. So he might say the same thing, honestly. The same thing. So, okay, prepare for the Federal Open Market Committee decided to reduce their interest by 0.25%.
We also decided to continue to reduce our securities holdings.
Good. So in 1 minute, we already know what's going to happen. That's the goal. That's what's going to happen probably today. Let's go ahead and take a look at. Let's go ahead and take a look at everything.
Did you reach a deal on trade? Did you reach a deal on trade?
We did. We reached a deal, and we did a lot of different things. We had a great session. It's an honor.
Did you have a message for New Zealand?
We should smile because we had a great time. But I've been doing this for 5 days, so it's always a little bit tougher. Is everybody happy?
I'm happy.
You having a good time?
How do you feel about the Australian
And I like your man from New Zealand, too.
And the Australian as well?
As you know, guys, right now Trump is traveling Asia, so he's cutting deals, he's bringing money home, he's closing all kinds of conflicts, making sure that trade is also fair, especially with China right now. He's going to be having a conversation soon. We've been hearing from Besant that things are going well, that I believe China already has ordered some new soybeans. So there's progress being made, everybody. I think that's what you want because it's bullish, man. It's bullish. By the way, today Nvidia, I mean, can somebody tell me in the comments what happened to Nvidia? Very quickly. Everybody should know. What happened today, Nvidia? How many trillions? Let's see if somebody can tell me right here. Five. There you go. Cyberhawk is listening. Omar is listening. Well done. Yes, guys. 5. Today, Nvidia becomes the world's first $5 trillion company. Can you believe it? I know we don't talk about stocks, but if you're in the market, if you are looking at everything, I mean, you should know this. Pretty powerful. Pretty powerful. Now, Bitcoin is 2-something trillion. In Nvidia, now we gotta beat Nvidia, guys, right? Which is absolutely insane. $5 trillion, and the entire crypto market cap, right? Let's go ahead and open coin market cap right now, or CoinGecko. It's about to be $4 trillion, guys. So Nvidia is larger than everything in crypto right now. Only 2 companies per se. Well, I mean, Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia, right? So it's, I think, a good reminder that technology companies are doing the best they can, and they're going to be dominating. They're going to be dominating for a long time. And I think it's good for you to know how big of an impact they have in our economy. It's good, guys. I like it. It's good. Thank you, Godstrud in the house. Godstrud, welcome, welcome. Pump My Backs, Powell, JC Mireles. What's up, buddy? Blake, welcome, guys. James, welcome. Good to see you guys. Don't you know? Pump it up. We got to pump it up. Oh, look at this.
He's finalized details of a trade agreement with South Korea following his meeting with the president there. And now our president says that he's confident he can strike a deal with Chinese leader Xi in their high-stakes meeting that will happen later tonight. Lucas Tomlinson on the road
it's later
today
tonight.
in South Korea. Confident he can strike a deal with Chinese leader Xi in their high-stakes meeting that will happen later tonight.
Okay, everybody. Later tonight means tomorrow for them. Because right now for them is Thursday. So later tonight means tomorrow. So tomorrow, Thursday, is when. So right after FOMC, wow. Right after FOMC, we're going to have this China meeting. I'm excited, man.
Lucas Tomlinson on the road today in South Korea. Lucas, hello there.
Well, good morning, Bill. President Trump has arrived here in South Korea with all the pomp this country can muster, including fighter escorts, the red carpet. And just moments ago, President Trump announcing that the U.S. and South Korea have inked a $350 billion trade agreement. Of course,
Wow.
the United States is South Korea's second largest trading partner. And part of the pomp are some gifts. And check this out, Dana. President Trump receiving, in essence, the crown jewels. This crown and necklace, the highest award South Korea can muster. And President Trump is the first American to receive it. And Trump says the trade deal has been reached, and it'll be a grand total of some $20 trillion investment from around the world in the president's first term. Here's the president earlier.
What? $20 trillion in the first term in 4 years. Wow, that's a lot of money. That's great. If you're a U.S. citizen, if you live in the country, if you're here in the United States, that's good news.
I figure that will probably be a 20 or 21, maybe even $22 trillion of investments coming into our country by the end of the first year of my second term. And, we had a tremendously successful first term.
Now, here's the scorecard from
Trump deals in Asia. Okay.
Now, here's the scorecard from Japan. Toyota to invest $10 billion in U.S. auto plants, $30 billion partnership with Mitsubishi, the U.S., Japan, and South Korea signing a new tech deal, a framework agreement with Japan on critical minerals reached. And we saw similar deals on rare earths in Malaysia with Cambodia. And Trump, that's what he did in Kuala Lumpur over the weekend, Bill. Now, President Trump, serenaded by South Korea's president, who visited the White House just a few months ago. Tomorrow is the high-stakes meeting with China's leader Xi Jinping on trade, fentanyl, and soybeans.
For people who don't know, guys, tomorrow is the big one, right? Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, China. Tomorrow. If we have powerful news coming tomorrow from China, my friends, 262 will be FUD. Okay? I'm saying it. 260 will be FUD. Assuming that today we get a cut, we are going to have to reopen the government some way, somehow. Tell me in the comments, what's going to make Democrats and Republicans come together? Honestly, I want to know from you. I want to pick your brain, guys. What is it going to take? How are they going to do it? 29 days, guys. 29 days and it's shut down. Crazy stuff, man. We want to pump it up, but we need a good government running, right? You're up 113% in Xrp. Let's go. I see the comments right now. Only civil war. Can't believe it. Meredith in the house. Archangel in the house. Michelle in the house. Welcome, Crypto Prince too. That's nice.
Last year, China bought $13 billion worth of American soybeans. This year, $0 billion. And one meeting not on the schedule, one with North Korea's dictator.
I know Kim Jong-un very well. We get along very well. We really weren't able to work out timing. We have President Xi is coming tomorrow, and that was something that obviously is very important to the world, to all of us. You'll be watching very carefully. We're meeting right here, and we're all looking forward to that. I think it's going to work out very, very well for everybody.
Now, board Air Force One en route from Japan here to South Korea. President Trump making some news. He says he has no plans to run for re-election a third term because he says he's not allowed to.
Oh, don't you love the guy? I mean, obviously some people hate him, but yeah, I know he's not allowed, but it's like when people ask him, are you going to run again? I'm like, I mean, only two, only two. People are really, really concerned, right? I mean, I get it, There's been a lot of conversations for sure about that. Oh, man, so fun. Let's pump it up, everybody, and let's see, what is this? Oh, no. Amazon's AWS, it's seen outages again. Okay. Thankfully, we are using YouTube, and I believe the internet should be fine right now. I just hope, because I'm using my employer's Wi-Fi right now. I hope it's not gonna crash us down today. I hope. Guys, if something happens, it wasn't me, okay? It was Amazon AWS, not me. Oh, look at this sexy guy. Fam, could you describe this picture in one word? David, the creator, one of the creators of the XRPL, everybody. I can still see you, Oscar. That's really nice. Rich dude, gorilla, hotness, shape, genius, money, Satoshi. I love that, everybody. I mean, for those who don't know, this is David Schwartz, one of the co-founders of the XRPL, a legend in the XRP community, a legend in the XRP army. He just stepped down from the chief, what was it? Chief CIO, right? I mean, Chief Information Officer, CTO, Chief Technology Officer. He steps down, and well, he of course deserves, you know, all the credit, all the gains. He deserves that 100%. They're talking about the shutdown, everybody. Sad but true.
We are now 29 days into this mess, and the Democrats have contradicted themselves every turn with no exit strategy in sight. They've tried to make their shutdown fight about health care, while simultaneously demanding that we cut $50 billion in rural health care and give taxpayer-funded health care to illegal aliens. Not to mention the Americans who are suffering right now because critical health care services have been put on pause due.
I've been hearing the same thing for the last 29 days, guys. I don't know when this is going to end. I told you, right, that I'm going to Washington, D.C. for Thanksgiving. And I was telling my friends, the ones who I'm going with, guys, come on, the government is going to be open by then. Are you kidding me? I don't know, man. I hope it is, because I don't want to experience devastation and a shutdown government where I'm going and I want to see, you know, things open. Vladimir Putin talking about nuclear, classic. Can we talk about XRP? How about that? Let's talk about XRP. All right, everybody, we are at 12:28 Central Time right now, so about 30 more minutes for us to have what the Federal Reserve is looking at doing, whether it's going to be a cut or no. We'll see that very, very, very soon. I need to pay house taxes, Oscar. I need cuts. I know, right? I wonder if Jerome Powell will cruise up his Impala again. XRP low of my life. What happened with Shiba Inu? You don't talk anymore. Yeah, I don't talk anymore right now lately, but I still hold it. Yes, I've been saying that for a while. If shutdown ends, rate cut, good news from China war, what's going to be your prediction? Well past $3. Guys, listen. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Under $3 XRP is all in. That is my all-in territory. All in. Under $3 XRP. Whether you want to believe it or not, that's up to you. But my friends, you need to take it very seriously. When we are discussing, right, adding more XRP to your bags, adding more H-bar. Anybody H-bar here by any chance? Where's all the H-bar holders? Because I'm one of them. We saw what happened to H-bar, right? We saw what happened. By the way, today we're gonna get Solana too, so it's pretty exciting. Great video, Oscar. Kalpesh, thank you so much, Kalpesh, for the first super chat of the day. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Kalpesh. Thank you, buddy. Look at all the H-bar. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. By the way, all my H-bar and XRP, drop a like right now. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bells. We're always coming at you with the latest updates and news information, right? It's good for our portfolio. We're holding the line. We're holding crypto. We're holding Bitcoin. We're holding XRP. We're holding Ethereum. And I believe we're not making a mistake, that we're going to be rich that we're gonna be financially free, that we're gonna be millionaires because we are buying into something that is years ahead of its time. Yes, it is. Yes, yes, yes. So either you join right now or you buy the FOMO. Just choose your poison. But I'm buying right now. I'm holding right now, and I still have a few couple of more positions pending on Ondo. So just to recap everyone. In 2025, I finished my Xrp position. I finished my Cardano position, H-bar position, Algorand, and I also finished my Crow position. I finished my Solana, and let me see what else. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Bitcoin, of course, and Ethereum, and also I'm right now building my my Ondo position. So Ondo is the one that I'm looking, because it's gonna be a powerful RWA that I think is gonna be very much worth it. So if you're looking into allocations, guys, let's see. Let me give you an example. Let's say you wanna have a $10,000 XRP balance. Perfect. Then $10,000, work your butt off and get $10,000 worth of XRP. Then once you have those $10,000 worth of XRP, then you can change to adding 10,000 for H-bar. Once you finish your 10,000 H-bar, then you move to Cardano. Then once you finish your Cardano, stop for a moment and see all of those $30,000 that you already put in crypto. It might seem like it's not moving, but you are adding bags that are gonna last for years to come. Those are the classic long-term positions that you don't really want to sell. You want to wait it out for years and then cash out when everything is at a ridiculous level, right? I mean, Charles Hoskinson said it best when he was like 100x, Cardano, or 10x Cardano, right? That's the way I see it. That's the way I've been preaching it for a while. Build your bags before it's too late. What do you expect to the top for Crow to be in this cycle? Thank you for the kind donation. I appreciate that a lot. Let me go ahead and give it a like. CRO Kronos is a position that I have because I believe in everything about Crypto.com. I can tell you stories for days about Crypto.com, but just know that you're not wasting your time, and I'm holding CRO. CRO is gonna be $1, guys. So right now it's gonna be like a 8x or so. So you choose whatever you wanna invest your money, but I think CRO, it's gonna be $1 and it's gonna make us a lot of money. Good morning, Oscar. Did he speak already? No, we're waiting, Omar. We're waiting a little bit over 25 minutes. No. He speaks in 1 hour. So yes, 30 minutes for the decision on what they decided. Yes. Obviously, Crow is not for everybody. XRP is not for everybody. Bitcoin is not for everybody, right? I think a lot of people decide to trade. So let me talk about trading for a moment, and then we'll go back to what we were, talking about. You want to make a lot of money in crypto? You want to really make a lot of money in crypto and see like, oh man, I'm actually feeling and touching gains right now. You want to do that? Like, you don't want to wait that long because you're like, man, I don't want to wait years and that's too long and I want to use the money. And okay, so you just told me that you want to be a little bit more aggressive with your investment. Okay, then the only way you're going to be able to do that in this market is by trading, period. What do you mean trading? Well, using leverage. We are not going to have liquidation events like we had on October 10 every single day when we lost $20 billion from the crypto space and people lost everything. We're not going to have days like that. In fact, right now seems more bullish than ever. if China goes well, if the market bail goes well, if the FOMC goes well, if the ETFs go well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to not see a really, really positive day in crypto, right? Just FYI. More like 400 billion. What's up, brother? How you doing, guys? Welcome, welcome. Trading is where the money is at. Join BTCC using Oscar's links. So I've seen it from, first experience. I've seen it. I think it's gonna be an amazing blessing for those who have some positions. If you want to give it a try, if you want to join, more than welcome, right? Click the first link down below, BTCC, sign up to 10,000 welcome bonus, including one of you is gonna get 3,000 XRP because you guys won the competition. So you still have time. You still have time to try, to test it, to go, to join. And I'll be very excited to see you guys and welcome you in my Discord. And I'll give you free access. And you'll chat, you'll meet the community. So I just want to make sure that you know, right, that trading using stop losses, using all the features that you have, learning how to do it, it works for a lot of people and you make tons of money with that. So just train a lot, get ready. Yeah, for those who are in my Discord server, guys, know that we have a trading academy. So I recorded a bunch of videos. It's trading, teaching you basically how to trade and the basics, it's like a class. So it's really nice. There's like over 30 videos there and more to come. So we have an academy on our Discord. This goes, included in your membership. So just FYI. Ghost, TJ, and everybody, all of my planets, all of my admins, they know that. They can give you more info. They can tell you the experience, but it's really nice. Yeah, you don't get Discord access when you join with BTCC, my friend. That's Patreon. BTCC, you join, and then you can trade on BTCC under my link, right? And if you have any issues with BTCC or so, you can DM me on Telegram, and then I can pass it up to the BTCC fam. That's a good question. That's a good question. We have JB in the house too. So there's everybody here, all my admins, my main admins. If you need any help, just post your comment in the chat, and we'll go ahead and help you out, guys. Some people need a community, and that's what we're here for. What's up, Cray? Good to see you, buddy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Pengu, I do have Pengu. What's up, Brandon in the house? You think a Facebook page? I don't have a Facebook page, so watch out with the scammers, please. Watch out with the scammers. I see. Maybe, Brandon, maybe. Brandon, I need to invite you to the Discord. I think you're not in the Discord, right? Send me a DM on X, please. I may be talking to you already, but let me invite you to the Discord too. Send me a DM on X, please. I'm not sure. XRP moving up. I see it, 265. Don't you see that, guys? Look at that. Oh, let's go to the 5 minutes. Ooh. Let's go at the Bollinger. Okay. Somebody decided to wake up the beast. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. Go ahead and DM me on X, please, Brandon. DM me on X. Let's take a look at this one. Let's take a look. See what the latest is here on X. Just then, 402 million crypto longs liquidated. Really? I mean, the price is not crashing, but still some bunch of longs got destroyed. It's crazy. Ooh, what is this? Xrp is dead because Western Union isn't using Ripple. Cool. Western Union moves 80 million a day. Ripple's chasing 155 trillion a year. That's like calling Tesla doom because a used car lot switch brands. Every test just proves one thing: all roads lead to XRP.
The XRP is dead, crowd. They're back again. They're in full force this time. This time they're saying that Western Union isn't using Ripple, so it's over for Ripple and XRP. Cool story. Let's look at the math. Western Union, they move $80 million a day. Yawn. Ripple's targeted market, well, they're looking at cross-border flows that are worth 15 trillion a year. 155 trillion a year, 15 trillion. Yeah, okay, we're bigger than that. So yeah, look, losing Western Union, it's not a death blow. I'm sorry to let these XRP haters know that. It's like Tesla losing one used car dealership. It's not going to phase them. Not going to be a hiccup. What we're actually seeing is migration. Companies experimenting with blockchain rails, trying to find what scales, and all roads eventually they're going to lead back to the XRP ledger. Look, the bigger the rotation, the bigger the validation. This isn't a funeral. It's a graduation. You like that rhyme?
I like that. I like that. Ripple, bull, wrinkle.
The XRP is dead, crowd.
I love it, everybody. I love it. It's exactly what we're bullish, and we continue pushing no matter what, everybody. Gas us up, Jerome. Gas us up, stock market. Come on, man. We really want something good today. I gotta tell you that. Less than 20 minutes to go, everybody, to hear the decision right now. Less than 20 minutes to go for the decision. I'm excited. It's gonna come soon, soon, soon. Oh, by the way, I saw this. I saw that CC is suing back, dude. Where is it? Where is it? Here. Binance founder CC to file defamation lawsuit against the anti-crypto U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren if she does not retract her false statements. Oh boy. Well, I guess China has something else to worry about. The tables have turned. So guys, it's just a battle. It's just a battle. They never want to be friends. They always want to start fighting and fighting and fighting. Nvidia hits 5 trillion market cap. Trump and Xi to meet in Busan on trade, fentanyl, and tech issues. Bringing back trillions of dollars to the USA. A great trip dealing with very smart, talented, wonderful leaders. Tomorrow, President Xi of China. It will be a great meeting, guys, and for both President Donald J. Trump, right? So that's something that we all have to look at. Now, this is what I heard earlier today. China purchases 180,000 tons of U.S. soybeans, their first order in months, ahead of tomorrow's President Trump and President Xi meeting. That's really nice. That to the U.S. farmer, those are great news, guys, so kudos. That's amazing news for U.S. farmers that are getting some jobs right now. There's a chance. There's a big chance that something good can come out of this now. 3 U.S. soybean cargoes. Beautiful. That's what we like to see. Ooh, Jerome Powell, right? So he's trending now. Pretty good. Jerome Powell coming in without giving two Fs. Nokia shareholders. These are the posts that I love the most. We're just chilling and relaxing and seeing our phones, like looking at 5% gain after 90% loss. This is not Apple, Samsung, or even SpongeBob. It's Nokia. Nokia? What? Nokia is pumping? Guys, really? Good afternoon.
Cut interest rates. Hi, everyone. I will not cut interest rates. Hi, everyone.
Thankfully, it's AI. If not, it's over. It's cooked. We're done. Close the positions.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I'll fuck your calls and your puts too.
I'm telling you guys, there's something with Jerome Powell and AI that can't believe it, man. Can you believe it? This is real. Like, this actually happened, bro. And that got the internet, that just blew the entire internet. That was so funny. So funny. Pack it up, everybody. No, absolutely. Like, if he says something like that, just pack it up already.
Which one was it? Oh, whatever, 100 BPS cut.
Oh, yes. Oh, man, we have 100 basis point cut. We're going to the stratosphere, bro. Like, you have no idea how fast we get to $3 immediately, bro. 100 basis point. No, yeah, that's too good to be true. That's too good to be true. Jerome is a real gangster. I know. No, he's gonna cut. He's gonna cut, everybody. He has to cut.
I call him too late. He's always too late. He's been too late. And Jerome, too late Powell. So somebody gave me a bad reference on him. I put him in based on some guy that turned out to be not so hot. And we got a bad Fed guy, but he'll be out of there a few months, and we'll get somebody new. I guess, Scott, you have a long list of people that want it. If anybody has any suggestions, because we really do, we have, all the people that are being talked to. If you have a suggestion, just shout it out. Just shout it out. Mark, do you have a suggestion? Mark has some pretty good suggestions. You put me on the cover of Time magazine. That was a nice picture. Thank you very much for that. That was very good. It was a
classic Trump, as you know. Classic Trump. Can't believe it, bro. Look at this. Preparing for the market open. Jerome Powell is pumping gains right now. I'm telling you guys, there's something with Jerome Powell and AI that I cannot understand, Believe it, bro.
So our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks, and we think it's, banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks, and it's safe and sound. As a good number of our banks that we regulate and supervise do that. The threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in crypto activities, and that's because they're so new, and we don't want to make the mistake. If you're making a choice to conduct that activity inside a bank, which is inside the federal safety net with deposit insurance, then you want to be pretty sure that it's a safe and sound activity. So, we're not against innovation, and we certainly don't want to to take actions that would cause banks to, to terminate custody.
Good. They're okay with Bitcoin. I love it. I love it. What is this?
I am pleased to announce that we are dropping interest rates 100 basis points. Donald can suck my... I am pleased...
Oh, this is too much. This is too much. Please. Not Jerome Powell, please. This is too much goodness. TJ in the house, you're all about to get liquidated. I think they should be live right now. They should be live. Yes, they're live. Ooh, what a nice song right there. Perfect. Guys, 9 minutes. Let me post it. 9 minutes for decision. 9 minutes for decision right now. Let's see what they're gonna be cooking right now for us. If it's gonna be a cut, a dump, what have you. Get ready. Get absolutely a mega ready, because we are coming at you with all the stories and all the reactions, guys. All I ask you, if you can, drop a like, let us know in the comments, chat down below. And we have the live chat open for you. You have a question or so, all of my awesome admins and members will be glad to answer, and I'll see your comment too. Once Jerome comes to the podium, I'll be muted. I won't speak, and I will just listen up to the entire conference, and we'll have a good time, guys, to relax, debrief, and see what happened. We always do this. This is a tradition of the channel to be here for FOMC, and we appreciate you a lot. We thank you for your preference, because right now there's many people live, but you decide to come here, and I thank you honestly a lot. We do this, and we believe, right? We are all in crypto. We are all in XRP. We know that we're gonna be fine, and we believe before the masses. It's gonna be a nothing burger. Victor in the house, welcome, buddy. Happy to see you. We are in the army, 100%. Cronus 2. Let's fly, 100%. We want to fly too. Okay, so Jerome Powell, yes, we're hearing all the funny Jerome Powell memes. Let's take a look at FOMC right now. We're watching live. Oh my God. Oh, no. I have to. You didn't see anything. You didn't see anything, right? Okay, let's just move and don't talk about that, okay? Why is crypto Twitter so crazy? Crypto's a scam. Don't do it. My eyes. I can't believe it. Quantitative easing, 100%, bro. Quantitative easing. Me with $268 in a crypto worrying about the FOMC meeting. Bitcoin is dumping before FOMC a little bit. 90%, right? It's gonna be. Oh, this guy's excited for FOMC tomorrow. They have no respect. They have no respect. Can't believe it, bro. 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. And we're gonna get it. Baron Trump. Oh, that's me. That's us, fam. That's us. And that's me too. I remember this one. That was June.
What I'm doing. So we have a stupid person, frankly, at the Fed. He probably won't cut today. Europe had 10 cuts, and we had none. And I guess he's a political guy. I don't know. He's a political guy.
This is back in June. No way, man. That's crazy. I remember this one. That's another FOMC. I've been covering all the FOMCs, man. Oh, man. Fun. All I gotta say, fun.
Everybody, what is going on? Oh my gosh, things are gonna change a lot in the next 2 weeks.
That's my voice, fam. Oh, yes. Man, this is exciting. Okay. Oh, by the way, fam, I gotta tell you something. I ordered an XRP rug, and I'll show you once it arrives. I bought a rug. There's a customized rug website, and it's gonna be a pretty one. It's gonna be a big one. I'm so excited for it. Very, very, very excited for it. Lounge coin. Another rug. You gotta be careful, everybody. I'm showing you this on the screen because that's the reason why I buy XRP. I don't really want to buy stupid, crazy meme coins on Solana that can just rock you and make you lose all your money. You better buy utility with tremendous value. That's why we buy XRP, guys. You gotta be careful, right? 98% of a 25 basis point cut. That's what we want to see. It's coming in. All right. Perfect. No, I mean, everything looks fine. Oh, and by the way, Saylor predicts 150,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year.
About where you see Bitcoin hitting at the end of the year and in a year from now when we're back at this conference?
Well, I think Bitcoin's going to continue to grind up. I think the volatility is coming off of it as the industry becomes more structured with more derivatives and more ways to hedge it. Our expectation right now is end of the year, it should be about $150,000. And that's the consensus of the equity analysts that cover our company.
150. Okay, everybody. I need everyone in the chat. I want to see a spam. All my admins, don't worry. Don't mute or silence people right now. I want you to spam right now. Where is the price gonna go once we got the decision? Is it gonna dump 5 minutes or is it gonna pump in the 5 minutes? Go. What is gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What do you think? I see pump, I see dump, 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 pump. Look at that. I see more dump. Fake pump. I see fake pump, dump, 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 dump. Guys, it's gonna mega pump if we have a 50 basis point, but I don't think we're gonna have a 50 basis point. Ooh, 1 minute, everybody. 1 minute, 1 minute. Let's go ahead and go to the 3 minutes. Okay, we're watching. Can we do 2 minutes? Oh no. Okay, 3 minutes. We're watching the 3 minutes, everybody. Drop a like, everybody. Consider subscribing. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's go to FOMC. Here we go. Here we go. Latest. Ready? Ready? Okay, everybody. Here we go. It's one. I see green. The decision is out. The decision is out. 25 basis points. See a little bit of an action right there. Not much. 25. As expected. As expected. As massively expected. Very good, very good. 111, negative 1%. Cash, okay. World Liberty Financial, 9%. Jasmine, I see green. I see mostly green. Mostly green. Everybody, we got a 25 basis point. Big breaking news, cuts by 25. The Fed cuts rates by 25 basis points. There it is. Yep. We got another 25, which means it's going to get a little easier to borrow. It's going to get a little easier for people to sell. Sell homes. It's going to get a little easier for people to buy homes, right? So it brings more money to the system. It's good. And also reducing the balance sheet. Now, the Fed just posted, everybody just posting too, lowers rate 25 basis to 4%. So we're 4% right now. What is this? The Fed just said they will roll over MBS payments into buying treasury bonds. That's not ending QT December 1st and cutting 25, but basically buying bonds like QE days. Holy bullish. Sorry. That's not only ending. Sorry. I forgot to read the only. That's not only ending QT December 1st, but basically buying bonds QE. Okay. Seems bullish. Let's go to Bitcoin just for a moment. BTC in the 3 minutes. That's BTC in the 3 minutes right now. Of course, 3 minutes, it's gonna be very, very volatile. So FYI, don't get scared. Already priced in, but Powell could still tank us, right? I know. Guys, have you seen Trump? World Liberty Financial pumping with a nice one, 14 to 15 a little bit. H-bar doing a number 2, which is nice. And XRP, we're looking at 265. Went to 266. It's not bad, but I mean, we need more. Completely priced in right now, but still we want to hear what's coming up from. There it is. Ondo brings tokenized US stocks to BNB chain as market doubles to 700 million. Ooh, I love that. Yes, I'm buying Ondo and he's talking about Ondo. Yes. That's what I'm talking about, man. Great stuff. Keep talking about Ondo, man. Keep talking about Ondo. Ooh, look at this.
About where you see Bitcoin hitting at the end of the year and in a year from now when we're back at this conference?
Well, I think Bitcoin's going to continue to grind up. I think the volatility is coming off of it as the industry becomes more structured with more derivatives and more ways to hedge it. Our expectation right now is end of the year, it should be about $150,000. And that's the consensus of the equity analysts that cover our company and the Bitcoin industry right now. I don't know why it won't grind up to $1 million a coin over the next 4 to 8 years. I would think not less than 4, not more than 8. And of course, my long-term forecast is it goes up about 30% a year for the next 20 years, and we're headed toward $20 million Bitcoin.
Do you hear what he said? $20 million Bitcoin. Oh boy. $1 million too, he said. So yeah, I mean, those Bitcoin maxis are very bullish, guys, very bullish. We're in the 3-minute right now candle, and we start seeing just a few touches. We'll see right now. What's up, Life in Aid? Welcome, very happy to see you. Deshaun in the house, welcome, welcome. Jess, a cut happened. We got a 25 basis point cut, so a total of 50 right now. Nothing out of the ordinary, honestly. Nothing crazy or unexpected happened, right? Everything that we wanted to see, it's happening there. So, well, yes, classic Jerome Powell. And we just need a new guy. We need a new person. We need someone that's going to go more aggressive, but it's not Jerome Powell. That's not him. It says right here, what do you recommend moving my crypto from Coinbase and Kraken? Like, you want to go self-custody? Well, Cold Wallet, right? Cold Wallet. There's no better than that, for sure. $20 Bitcoin, I'm guessing. Classic too late, Powell. You know that, brother. You know that, 100%. So less than about 20 minutes or so, right, for the conversation that we're gonna listen, all of us, as usual, and see. There's only one more FOMC, guys, and that's it. One more. Here's the statement. Let's take a look at the statement, guys. Indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a good pace. Job gains have slowed this year, and the unemployment rate has edged up but remained low through August. More recent indicators are consistent with these developments, and inflation has moved up since earlier in the year and remains somewhat elevated. So inflation remains somewhat elevated, right? The committee seeks to achieve maximum employment and inflation at a rate of 2% over the long run. Uncertainty about the economic outlook remains elevated. The committee is attentive to the risk to both sides of the dual mandate, right? So they decided to lower the target range for the federal funds rate by 1.25 percentage point to 3.25 to 4%. So considering additional adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, the committee will carefully assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risk. The committee decided to conclude the reduction of its aggregate securities holding on December 1st. So there you have it, everybody. That's the press release. That's something that they tell everyone. And yep, 25 basis point. That's what we got. Charles Hoskins' son, I want to hear what he said just about Peter Schiff. I'm excited. Clock ticking for Powell before Trump fires him. What's up, JB? So the government can affect crypto when it's shut down, but can do spot ETFs. Love it. I know, right? Hey, not much we can do, buddy. Sad but true, not much we can do. All right. So this is live. We're waiting, right? A couple more minutes and it should be all fine. Once again, I want to say thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much for your support, for the likes and for the comments. And just sit back, relax, enjoy as we wait for Powell. Peter continues to be wrong and utterly irrelevant. This is what Charles Hoskinson is saying. He was wrong at $100 Bitcoin. He was wrong at $1,000 Bitcoin. He was wrong at $10,000 Bitcoin. And he is wrong at 100,000 Bitcoin. He will be wrong at $1 million Bitcoin. This reminds me that bullish people in crypto and the industry are looking at years ahead from now, while fudders and bears always criticize what's going on today. Don't be like that. Don't be like that, everybody. Pengu up. Pengu up. How much Bitcoin should I start buying if it's expected to reach 20 million in 1 million in 4 to 8 years and 20 million many years down the road? You should be doing whatever works for you, right? Obviously, $100,000 per Bitcoin is a big chunk of money. But if you're a retiree, if you're someone who has a couple millions, right? If you're decided to go to the next mile, but now it's time for you to retire, enjoy your money, it's a challenge, right? You might want to give money to your kids or someone else. The way I see it is that Bitcoin, of course, is going to stay here and it's going to continue growing. It's going to continue doing very well. Just know what the fudders keep saying, right? Back in 2019, keep dreaming. Bitcoin is never going to hit $100,000, something that Peter Schiff said. And well, you know the rest. You know what happened. That's him. He's coming to let us know and to answer some questions. Brandon in the house. Only buy Bitcoin if you have millions, people say. Rates have been cut 25. Yes, they have. Watch your guru tweet. Ooh, let's take a look at that. Yes. To end quantitative tightening December 1st. Dude, things are gonna do really well, bro. Ending quantitative tightening means the passive drain on bank reserves stops, effectively removing a systemic headwind. The market's focus now shifts to the required reserve ratio adjustment and watch M2 grow metrics closely from December 1st. I think people really want to see a big pump. Well, the Federal Reserve announced it will halt balance sheet reduction on December 1st. Fed. Let me take a look at that just one more time. Here, the committee decided to conclude the reduction of its aggregate securities holdings on December 1st. The committee is strongly committed to support maximum employment returning to inflation. There it is, everybody. Reduction to aggregate securities holdings. Big, massive things are coming up soon. And Meet Kevin already said it. Meet Kevin is pretty happy today. That's not only ending QT December 1st, but basically buying bonds like QE days. Wow. Guys, ending QT, and then the market structure, the Clarity Act. Oh my, wow. People don't know. People are clueless, bro. People have no clue what's coming, bro. I have the honor to talk to so many people, young people, and they have no clue, bro. They are blind, bro. Like I was when I was their age, of course. When I was studying at a university, I was 18, 19, and the price of Bitcoin was $300, bro. I always say that story to them because I tell them, guys, please wake up, open your eyes, bro. Like, I was your age and Bitcoin was $300, guys. I always say it to them, but they don't care. They just don't care. They are focused on some other stuff, bro, that it hurts my feelings a little bit, because I'm like, guys, you can change your life and you just put in a little bit of effort, man. Powell Barron just said Powell easing QT, correct. 15 minutes in the house. I'm the same. Canada in the house. Let's go. Jim Cramer. Oh, no. Jim Cramer. We don't want that. I couldn't have gotten Bitcoin in it early. I was like 7 or 8. Ooh, bro, you were so young. Some people are afraid of money. Dude, well, big shout out from wherever you're watching us, guys. I'm here in the US, where you're watching us from. I have friends all over the world, right? In the UK, in Dubai, in Singapore. I have friends in many parts of the United States as well. Australia, Canada. We have just like the love of the community is insane. And I just want to, we know that we come together for these days, right? For FOMC. Out of all the days in the year, right, FOMC gets pretty special. So big shout out to Finland, right? The Philippines, of course, Amsterdam, of course. Let's go. And the UK, Guadalajara in the house. Let's go, man. My Mexican friends. There you go. Powell, guys, I was joking. No rate cuts. No, please. No, please. We want the rate cuts. Thank you, TJ. I appreciate it a lot. Slovenia in the house, Ecuador, North Dakota, Portland. Wow. Why are we dumping? We're not dumping, bro. We're not dumping. We're not dumping. We're doing actually pretty well compared to where we were a couple weeks ago. Fed announces that QT will end on December 1st. Sexy. Alcon will start on December 1st. Don't tell. I'm going to copy this one. It's so unique. It's so unique. Alcon season will start on December 1st. Alcon season will start on December 1st. Yes. Yes. I love that. Great timing. Perfect. There are HBAR has partnered up with Accenture. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Somebody donated. Oh, the addicted angler, no matter what, always do exactly the opposite of any advice Gene Kramer does. Thank you so much, the addicted. Appreciate that a lot. Welcome to the channel. And thank you for your donation. Thank you. Less than about 12 minutes to go, guys. 12 minutes to go. And we're ready to pump it up. 100% pump it up. You know it. And for those who don't know, yes, rate cuts. We got them. You can see them right there. Wife changer soon. Can't believe it. We got some pineapple, guys. Pineapple juice. Today we get pineapple juice. I got carrot and then green juice, but I brought the pineapple. Just a little bit. I put red food coloring on it. Can't believe it. All right. We got the Kubesi letter. Fed cut rates by 25 basis in second rate of 2025. Fed member Miran dissented in favor of a 50 basis point cut. Fed member Schmidt dissented in favor of no rate cut. Fed says it will stop shrinking its balance sheet on December 1st. Fed says inflation has moved up and remains somewhat elevated. Fed says downside risk to employment have risen. The Fed pivot is in full swing. You want to print or you want to print? It's basically time to print, guys, and make some money. I think that Powell will say that ending QT is a form of risk management, similar to how he described rate cuts. Benjamin and everybody's watching carefully, as you know. everyone is watching carefully. Canada just cut rates by 25 basis to 2.25. Fed is next. Oh, wow. So Canada already had their cuts much earlier today. Beautiful. Stephen Miran dissented in favor of a 50 basis. So they want to see way more cuts, guys. Just FYI. There's people who want to see more cuts. I'm gonna leave it right there. We got about 9 minutes, everybody, to go. 9 minutes. That's exciting. Oh, yes. Don't you know? Pump it up. Just gotta pump it up 100%, guys. That's the way it is. That's the way it works. And we are not gonna stop. Do you know why? We're always here. Coming in about 9 minutes more. Oscar's boss walks in and gets on. The door is locked. I got my door locked. As you know, guys, we're not in my office. I'm at my job. But they already know. I already told them. And yeah. I think I can say this. Right? Yeah, I can say this. So guess what? I resigned. So I'm just finishing up this year and that's it. I'm going full-time crypto content creator on YouTube. Thanks to my community, thanks to the passion for the business, and thanks to God, and thanks to all the work that we've been putting in, everybody. I'm really grateful. I'm not taking this decision lightly, of course. It's been a long 5 years, a really long 5-year journey for me. But due to and all my community and all this system that we have created, it's been very rewarding, and I'm just excited, man, for you guys, because there's more videos coming your way, there's more push coming your way, and they're gonna miss me. They're telling me, of course, don't go, but it's time for me to take the next step and move into a direction of greatness, of growth, of learning, and of serving you, because that's the number one thing, everybody. Serving you, my community, being transparent with you and being honest with you, and growing my awesome base. Thank you, guys. Love you. Thank you so much. It's time. Now, 2:64, and we got 7 minutes to go. Congrats. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that a lot, bro. Appreciate that a lot. It's time, It's always good when you don't have a boss to tell you that you're fired, you're laid off or so. So, yeah, we're still going to be working till the end of the year. And once it's over, then that's it. Some of you know this, guys, but you don't get to hear this from many creators, right? But many creators on YouTube talking about crypto, they already are full-time, because obviously if you do this well, if you do things right, and if you're good at what you do, it's very rewarding. But I've been working, because I just love what I do. But finally got to a point that I'm like, you know what? I much prefer to wake up a little later with more energy and more passion for you and more work. So yeah, it's gonna be good to cover Trump, and with a bunch more things that he's gonna do. We're gonna have more flexibility, more time. So yeah, just exciting. Brother, just watch how Powell created this stock. How Powell creators everything, right? I know. John, well done, brother. You and your wife can retire 100%, bro. Just put in the work. As I always tell you, and it's once I go to my office right back home, it's right behind me. If you are willing to put in, or like for those who want to be in the 1%, you got to be able to do what the 99% want, right? So it's a lot of work this demands. One day we're going to see that Xrp majestic nuclear bomb for the price, right? I know it's going to happen. It's coming in. It's coming in. Well, everybody, drop a like. Consider subscribing to the channel. We thank you for being here. 4 minutes to go for FOMC. 4 minutes to go. Soon, you're going to be watching with us. So I'll go mute. And now we're going to go all in on this. Oh, yeah, it's going to be good. I'm excited, man. I'm honestly super excited for what's ahead for this one. Fed cut rates by 25. Here we go, of course. Just with one good afternoon, and that's it. Oh, man. It's a lot of different noise here. Billionaire Paul Tudor. Price of everything is the same. We got the 25, it was already priced in. Everything is the same. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing really changed for the price. We're not just going to see after the decision with Powell, right? Let's see, everybody, if Powell has, well, the keys to a mega nicely pump. Oscar, how high can XRP go in the incoming years? Well past $10, well past $20, bro. That's the level I'm looking for. I am not gonna sell XRP at $3, $4, or $5. You wanna sell at $5? Be my guest. Enjoy, sell, have fun, pay for whatever you want, enjoy and sell. But do you think I've been busting my butt off for less than a 2x? Makes no sense. Less than a 2x and sell XRP? You're joking. Absolutely joking. I'm not selling XRP for a mere 2x. You do that, not me. Not me. We're gonna go much higher, everybody. We have paid the fees, the dues, the tolls to see XRP balloon. Oscar, if you haven't tried, if you haven't heard, watch the Jay Clever. Gotcha. What was that? Something just moved there. I don't know. That's crazy. Oh, I saw it in the replay. It was like a water tower or something like that. That's just random. $10, you're gonna be a milli. Don't fake it. Ready to buy at XRP. I bought mine at 166. Well done. Never sell, be smart. Like a lot of people are gonna borrow. Guys, raise your hand right now. Raise your hand right now if you're gonna borrow against your XRP and not sell it. I wanna see a bunch of hands. I wanna see a bunch of people. Let's see if you guys are gonna do that. Because I'm thinking about it. Thinking about it. Borrow. My hand is up. Borrow and not sell forever. There it is, everybody. 130. I hope you're ready, because we are in. Thank you for coming. Enjoy. Sit down, relax. I'll be here muted. Crush the comments, and I give you your own Powell.
Good afternoon. My colleagues and I remain squarely focused on achieving our dual mandate goals of maximum employment and stable prices for the benefit of the American people. Although some important federal government data have been delayed due to the shutdown, the public and private sector data that have remained available suggests that the outlook for employment and inflation has not changed much since our meeting in September. Conditions in the labor market appear to be gradually cooling, and inflation remains somewhat elevated. In support of our goals and in light of the balance of risks to employment and inflation, today the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by a 1/4 percentage point. We also decided to conclude the reduction of our aggregate securities holdings as of December 1. I will have more to say about monetary policy after briefly reviewing economic developments. Available indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a moderate pace. GDP rose at a 1.6% pace in the first half of the year, down from 2.4% last year. Data available prior to the shutdown show that growth in economic activity may be on a somewhat firmer trajectory than expected, primarily reflecting stronger consumer spending. Business investment in equipment and intangibles has continued to expand, while activity in the housing sector remains weak. The shutdown of the federal government will weigh on economic activity while it persists, but these effects should reverse after the shutdown ends. In the labor market, the unemployment rate remained relatively low through August. Job gains have slowed significantly since earlier in the year. A good part of the slowing likely reflects a decline in the growth of the labor force due to lower immigration and labor force participation, though labor demand has clearly softened as well. Although official employment data for September are delayed, available evidence suggests that both layoffs and hiring remain low, and that both households' perceptions of job availability and firms' perceptions of hiring difficulty continue to decline. In this less dynamic and somewhat softer labor market, the downside risks to employment appear to have risen in recent months. Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer-run goal. Estimates based on the Consumer Price Index suggest that total PCE prices rose 2.8% over the 12 months ending in September, and that, excluding the volatile food and energy categories, core PCE prices rose 2.8% as well. These readings are higher than earlier in the year as inflation for goods has picked up. In contrast, disinflation appears to be continuing for services. Near-term measures of inflation expectations have moved up on balance over the course of this year on news about tariffs, as reflected in both market and survey-based measures. Beyond the next year or two or so, however, most measures of longer-term expectations remain consistent with our 2% inflation goal. Our monetary policy actions are guided by our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people. At today's meeting, the committee decided to lower the target range for the federal funds rate by a 1/4 percentage point to 3 3/4 to 4%. Higher tariffs are pushing up prices in some categories of goods, resulting in higher overall inflation. A reasonable base case is that the effects on inflation will be relatively short-lived, a one-time shift in the price level. But it is also possible that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent, and that is a risk to be assessed and managed. Our obligation is to ensure that a one-time increase in the price level does not become an ongoing inflation problem. In the near term, risks to inflation are tilted to the upside and risks to employment to the downside. A challenging situation. There is no risk-free path for policy as we navigate this tension between our employment and inflation goals. Our framework calls for us to take a balanced approach in promoting both sides of our dual mandate. With downside risks to employment having increased in recent months, the balance of risks has shifted. Accordingly, we judged it appropriate at this meeting to take another step toward a more neutral policy stance. With today's decision, we remain well positioned to respond in a timely way to potential economic developments. We will continue to determine the appropriate stance of monetary policy based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We continue to face two-sided risks. In the committee's discussions at this meeting, there were strongly differing views about how to proceed in December. A further reduction in the policy rate at the December meeting is not a foregone conclusion. Far from it. Policy is not on a preset course. At today's meeting, the committee also decided to conclude the reduction of our aggregate securities holdings as of December 1. Our long-stated plan has been to stop balance sheet runoff when reserves are somewhat above the level we judge consistent with ample reserve conditions. Signs have clearly emerged that we have reached that standard. In money markets, repo rates have moved up relative to our administered rates, and we have seen more notable pressures on selected dates, along with more use of our standing repo facility. In addition, the effective federal funds rate has begun to move up relative to the rate of interest on reserve balances. These developments are what we expected to see as the size of our balance sheet declined and warrant today's decision to cease runoff. Over the 3.5 years that we've been shrinking our balance sheet, our securities holdings have declined by $2.2 trillion. As a share of nominal GDP, our balance sheet has fallen from 35% to about 21%. In December, we'll enter the next phase of our normalization plans by holding the size of our balance sheet steady for a time, while reserve balances continue to move gradually lower as other non-reserve liabilities, such as currency, keep growing. We will continue to allow agency securities to run off our balance sheet, and will reinvest the proceeds from those securities in Treasury bills, furthering progress toward a portfolio consisting primarily of Treasury securities. This reinvestment strategy will also help move the weighted average maturity of our portfolio closer to that of the outstanding stock of Treasury securities, thus furthering the normalization of the composition of our balance sheet. The Fed has been assigned two goals for monetary policy: maximum employment and stable prices. We remain committed to supporting our maximum employment, bringing our inflation sustainably to our 2% goal, and keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored. Our success in delivering on these goals matters to all Americans. We understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Boom.
Nick Timmeros of the Wall Street Journal. Chair Powell, are you uncomfortable with how market pricing has assumed a rate cut is a foregone conclusion at your next meeting?
Well, as I just mentioned, a further reduction in the policy rate at the December meeting is not a foregone conclusion, as I've just said. So I would say that needs to be taken on board. We had, I would just say this, 19 participants on the committee. Everyone works very hard at this and takes their obligations to serve the American people very seriously. And at a time when we have tension between our two goals, we have, strong views across the committee. And as I mentioned, there were strongly differing views today. And the takeaway from that is that we haven't made a decision about December. And, we're going to be looking at the data that we have, how that affects the outlook and the balance of risks. And I'll just say that.
You and some of your colleagues have framed last month and maybe today, I won't put words in your mouth, there's a risk management exercise. At what point do you conclude that you've taken out enough insurance? Are you looking for some kind of improvement in the outlook, or could this unfold along the lines of last year, where you made a sequence of adjustments and then waited to gather more information?
So the way I've been thinking about it is the risks to the two goals. For a very long time, the risk was clearly of higher inflation. And then that has changed now. And as we saw particularly after the July meeting, we saw the downward revisions in job creation, we saw a very different picture of the labor market, and suggested that there were higher downside risks to the labor market than we had thought. And that suggested that policy, which we had been holding at a I would say modestly, people would say moderately restrictive level, needed to move more in the direction over time of neutral. if the two goals are sort of equally at risk, then you ought to be at neutral, because one of them's calling for you to hike and one of them's calling for you to cut. So if that got back into balance, then you'd want to be roughly at neutral. So in that sense, it was a risk management. And I would say the same about today, sort of the same logic. But as I mentioned, going forward is a different thing.
Claire.
Claire Jones, Financial Times. Thank you for taking this question. We've just heard from you that the discussion in December and the conclusion of the discussion is not a foregone conclusion. I'd like to just dig into that a little bit more about what sort of arguments were brought up. Was there any consideration, for instance, of the investment we're seeing in AI and some of the generation of household wealth through rises in stock prices related to the AI boom? Thank you.
I wouldn't say that's a factor in everyone's assessment of the economy. I wouldn't say it's the driving factor. I don't think for anybody. I guess I would say it this way. Once again, I would just point out that we have the situation where the risks are to the upside for inflation and to the downside for employment. We have one tool. It can't do both of those. You can't address both of those at once. You've got a very different situation. So you have some people have different forecasts, right? So they'll forecast faster or slower progress on one or the other. And they also have different levels of risk aversion. And, some will be more averse to inflation overruns, and some will be more averse to underruns of employment. And so you put that together, and as you can see from the SEP and from the public discussion that goes on between the meetings when participants go out and talk, they're very disparate views, and they were reflected in strongly differing views in today's meeting, as I pointed out in my remarks. And that's what leads me to say that, that we haven't made a decision about December. I always say that. It's a fact that we don't make decisions in advance. But I'm saying something in addition here, is that it's not to be seen as a foregone conclusion. In fact, far from it.
Can I just ask a quick follow-up on QT? How much of the fund impressions we've seen in money markets are related to the U.S. Treasury issuing more short-term debt?
That could be one of the factors, but the reality is we've seen, the things that we've seen, higher repo rates and federal funds rate moving up. These are the very things that we look for. We actually have a framework for looking at, what the place we're trying to reach. What we said for a long time now is that when we feel like we're a little bit or a bit above what we consider a level that's ample, that we would freeze the size of the balance sheet. Of course, reserves will continue to decline from that point forward as non-reserve liabilities grow. So this happened, some things have been happening for some time now, showing a gradual tightening in money market conditions. Really in the last, call it 3 weeks or so, you've seen more significant tightening, and I think a clear assessment that we're at that place. The other thing is, the balance sheet is shrinking at a very, very slow pace now. We've reduced it by half twice, and so there's not a lot of benefit to be holding on to get the last few dollars, because again, with the balance sheets, the reserves are going to continue to shrink as non-reserves grow. So, there was support on the committee as we thought about it to go ahead with this and announce effective December 1 that we will be, freezing the size of the balance sheet. And the December 1 date gives the markets a little bit of time to adapt.
Colby.
Thank you. Colby Smith with the New York Times. So much of the rationale for cutting interest rates, even as inflation moves away from the 2% target, seems to be, that there are these mounting downside risks to the labor market. But if those don't materialize and the labor market either stabilizes around current employment levels or even starts to strengthen somewhat, how would that change your perception of how much interest rates need to fall from here? Would you then be a bit more concerned about underlying inflation and the possibility of second round effects from tariffs?
Yeah, I mean, in principle, if you were to see data that suggested that the labor market's strengthening or even that it's stabilizing, that would certainly play into our decisions going forward. So, and we do have, we get some data. The labor market is a place where we get, for example, we get the state level data on initial claims, which are sending a sort of a signal of more of the same. We also get job openings. And we'll get lots of survey data. We'll get the Beige Book and things like that. So we'll have a picture of what's going on in the labor market. And the fact that we're not seeing an uptick in claims or a downtick really in openings suggests that you're seeing maybe continued very gradual cooling, but nothing more than that. So that does give you some comfort.
But if this shutdown lasts a while longer and you don't have that data in hand, I'm just wondering how that hinders the committee's ability to assess the state of the labor market and make the right policy decisions, and also how much is that factoring into the debate about December?
Yeah. So we get like I mentioned what we get in the labor area. We get some data in inflation, some data in economic activity. And we'll have a picture of what's going on. We also will have the Beige Book again. I would say we're not going to be able to have the detailed feel of things. But I think if there were a significant or material change in the economy one way or another, I think we'd pick that up through this. So in terms of how it might affect December, it's really hard to say. December's the meeting's like 6 weeks away. We just don't know what we're going to get. If there is a very high level of uncertainty, then that could be an argument in favor of caution about moving, but we'll have to see how it unfolds.
Steve.
Steve Leisman, CNBC. Mr. Chairman, can you characterize the meeting in terms of, you said strongly differing views. Was this a close call, this cut, or was it a close call maybe the other way because you had dissents on both sides? Thanks.
So I was referring to the discussion about, to the extent it related to December. You saw we had two dissents, one for 50 and one for no cut. So, that was a strong, solid vote in favor of this cut. The strongly differing views were really about the future. What does that look like? And I think people are saying, they're noticing stronger economic activity. Forecasters generally, broadly, have raised their economic growth forecasts for this year and next year, in some cases quite materially. In the meantime, we see, a labor market that's kind of, I don't want to say stable, but it's not clearly in motion. It's not clearly declining quickly in any case. It may be just continuing to gradually cool. And again, people have different forecasts and expectations about the economy and different risk tolerances. And so there's you read the SEP, you read the speeches, there are differing views on the committee, and to the point where I said what I said.
And just to follow up on the balance sheet, if you stop the runoff now, does that mean you have to go back to actually adding assets sometime next year so that the balance sheet doesn't shrink as a percent of GDP and become a tightening factor?
So you're right. The place we'll be on December 1 is that the size of the balance sheet is frozen. And as mortgage-backed securities mature, we'll reinvest those in Treasury bills, which will foster both a more Treasury balance sheet and also a shorter duration. So that's what, in the meantime, if you freeze the size of the balance sheet, the non-reserve liabilities, currency, for example, they're going to continue to grow organically. And because the size of the balance sheet is frozen, you have further shrinkage in reserves. And reserves is the thing that we're managing that has to be ample. So that'll happen for a time, but not a tremendously long time. We don't know exactly how long. But at a certain point, you'll want to start reserves to start gradually growing to keep up with the size of the banking system and the size of the economy. So we'll be adding reserves at a certain point, and that's the last point. Even then, we didn't make decisions about this today, but we did talk today about the composition of the balance sheet, and there's a desire that the balance sheet be right now it's got a lot more duration than the outstanding universe of Treasury securities, and we want to move to a place where we're closer to that duration. That'll take some time. We haven't made a decision about the ultimate endpoint, but we all agree that we want to move more in the direction of a balance sheet that more closely reflects the outstanding treasuries, and that means a shorter duration balance sheet. Now, this is something that's going to take a long time and move very, very gradually. I don't think you'll notice it in market conditions, but that's the direction of things.
Big shout out to Mansour. Thank you, brother. Welcome 50 members. Let's go.
Janelle Marte with Bloomberg. how are officials interpreting the latest CPI report? So some components came in lower than expected, but core inflation was still at 3%. So at this moment, what are you learning about the drivers? And also, do you view that the risks are greater that the Fed makes a mistake on employment or inflation?
So the September CPI report, we didn't get PPI after that, which is important for translation into what we look at, which is PCE inflation. But we can still make a pretty good assessment of what that will be. When we get PPI, there might be some adjustments. But so directionally, it was a little softer than expected, and we always break it down into the three components. So basically, you've seen goods prices increasing, and that's really due to tariffs. And that's compared to a longer run trend of very, very mild deflation in goods. So that's moving inflation up. On the other side of that, good news, that housing services inflation has been coming down and is expected to continue to come down. So if you remember a couple of years ago, that's the one that we kept expecting it to do that. Now it's been doing that for some time, and we expect to continue that. That leaves the biggest category is services other than housing services. And that's kind of been moving sideways over the last few months, but a significant part of that is non-market services, and we don't take a lot of signal about the tightness of the economy from that. So if you add all that up, a couple things to say. One is that inflation away from tariffs is actually not so far from our 2% goal. We estimate, people have different estimates of what that is, but it might be, 5 or 6 tenths, and so that, if it's 2.8, then core PCE, not including tariffs, might be 2.3 or 2.4 in that range, something like that. So that's not so far from your goal. So that we look at that, and the thing about tariff inflation is the base case is that it will come, and it probably will increase further, but it is that it will be a one-time increase. And we've been very focused for all of this year at making sure that that's the case, and thinking carefully about what are the pathways through which it could become something else, troublesome inflation. One of those would be, a really tight labor market. We don't see that. Another could be inflation expectations moving. We don't see that. So I think, we're watching this very carefully. I think it's not the case that we're just assuming that it's going to be a one-time inflation. We understand fully that this is a risk we have to monitor and ultimately manage.
With the stubborn in services inflation, what are some of the things that the Fed could do to address that, and especially when we're seeing potentially labor supply challenges?
Sorry, say the first.
The stubborn services inflation that you mentioned.
Services inflation, yeah. Well, again, the part of services inflation that isn't coming down as we would like it to is the non-market part of non-housing services. And overall, that's just something that we expect will come down. The non-market part of it should come down. It largely reflects higher stock prices and financial services that are imputed rather than actually paid is a big part of that. But also just we think policy is still modestly restrictive in my telling. And so that's the kind of thing that should lead to a gradually cooling economy. That's one of the reasons you see a gradually cooling labor market, is because the Fed policy is modestly restrictive. So that should also help get that. I want to say, though, we're absolutely committed to returning inflation to 2%. If you look at longer-term surveys or market pricing, you will see that's a credible commitment, and there should be no question that that's where we're going.
Chris.
Great, thank you. Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. So there's a big investment boom in AI infrastructure right now, as you know, and wondering if the existence of such a boom would indicate that rates are not that restrictive after all, and could further rate cuts at this point perhaps fuel an excess level of investment there or market bubbles. How is the Fed thinking about that?
So I don't think that you're right. There are a lot of data centers being built and other investments being made around the country and around the world. big U.S. companies are just investing a lot of resources in thinking about how AI, which will be based on those data centers, run through those data centers, is going to affect their businesses. So it's a big deal. I don't think that the spending that happens to build data centers all over the country is especially interest sensitive. It's based on longer run assessments that this is an area where there's going to be a lot of investment and that's going to drive higher productivity and that sorts of things. I don't know how those investments will work out, but I don't think they're particularly interest sensitive compared to some of the other sectors.
And then just a quick follow-up. You mentioned that you do have data that you're looking at for inflation and growth in the absence of government data. Could you give us a sense? I think we know a lot about the jobs data that's out there. Can you give us a sense of what you're looking at to track inflation in the absence of government data? Thank you.
So it's a lot of things, and it doesn't replace government data, but you know all of these. I'll just mention some of the many names: Price Stats, Adobe, and others. For wage inflation, there's ADP data. On spending, you're going to ask about spending at some point. There are lots of other things that we look at, but it's many different sources, and again, including what we get out of the Beige Book, which will be sort of come out mid-cycle as always. And it doesn't replace the government data, but it gives us a picture. Again, I think if something material were happening, if there were material developments, I think we would pick that up. I don't think we'll be able to have the very granular understanding of the economy while this data is not available.
Howard.
Oh boy, everybody, send it.
Howard Schneider with Reuters. Thank you. I just wanted you to elaborate a little bit on what you said a moment ago about the continued shutdown, making it more difficult to make a move in December, and that may make you more cautious.
That's important.
To the degree you are relying on private data that isn't the gold standard, or that you're relying on your own surveys of the Beige Book, do you worry at some point you're going to have to start making policy by anecdote?
This is a temporary state of affairs, and we're going to do our jobs. We're going to collect every scrap of data we can find, evaluate it, and think carefully about it. And that's our jobs. That's what we're going to do. If you ask me, could it affect the December meeting? I'm not saying it's going to, but yeah, you could imagine that what do you do if you're driving in the fog? You slow down. So that could or could not. I don't know how that's going to play into things. We may get the data may come back, but there's a possibility that it would make sense to be more cautious about moving. I'm not committing to that. I'm just saying it's certainly a possibility that you would say we really can't see, so let's slow down.
As a follow-up in the debate on this meeting, we saw recently some pretty big layoff announcements coming from Amazon and others. Wondering if that figured into the discussion at all, that you're starting to see this tension between growth and employment starting to be resolved, to the detriment of employment. And secondly, some of the stress is starting to appear in the bottom spur of the K, as they call it, household health premiums that are going to possibly be going up quite substantially, things like that. Has that started to become a factor in your policy discussion?
So those are both things that we're watching very, very carefully. To start with the layoffs, you're right. You see a significant number of companies either announcing that they are not going to be doing much hiring or actually doing layoffs, and much of the time they're talking about AI and what it can do. So we're watching that very carefully, and yes, it could absolutely have implications for job creation. We don't really see it in the initial claims data yet. Now, it's not a surprise that we don't. It takes some time for it to get in there, but we're watching that really carefully. But again, don't see it yet in the initial claims data. On the K-shaped economy thing, I would say the same thing or similar thing. We are, if you listen to the earnings calls or the reports of, big public consumer-facing companies, many of them are saying that there's a bifurcated economy there, and that consumers at the lower end are struggling and buying less and shifting to lower-cost products. but that at the top, people are spending at the higher income and wealth, and so much anecdotal data on that, and so we think there's something there.
Edward.
Thank you, Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. So, Mr. Chairman, I want to take another crack at the further reduction of rates is not a foregone conclusion. So in December, he said, far from it. So if a cut might not be on the table for December because of lack of data, what does the other concerns then stem from? So if it's not lack of data as the reason December is not a foregone conclusion, what other things could be the concern then?
Well, the perspectives of people on the committee that, we've now moved 150 basis points, and that we're down into you're into that range between 3 and 4, where many estimates of the neutral rate live in that 3 to 4% area. You're there now. You're above the median number for the committee, but I think there are people on the committee who have higher estimates of the neutral rate, and that's you can argue these positions since it can't be directly observed, the neutral rate. So, I think for some part of the committee, it's time to maybe take a step back and see whether there really are downside risks to the labor market, or see whether in fact the growth that the stronger growth that we're seeing is real. Ordinarily, the labor market is a better indicator of the momentum of the economy than the spending data. That's the lore. In this case, that gives a more downbeat read. So people just have, again, we've cut 50 more basis points in the last 2 meetings, and there was a sense like, let's pause here, kind of thing, and a sense from others wanting to go ahead. But that's why I say differing views, strongly differing views.
And so on that division, then you're talking about going forward. So what's more important in this division? Is it inflation risks? Is it employment risk? Or is there a deeper philosophy division among the board?
Look, everybody on the committee is deeply committed to doing the right thing to achieve our goals, maximum employment and stable prices. You have differences on how to do that. And as I mentioned, some of that is different forecasts, but a lot of it is also different risk aversions to the different variables, which is common through all Federal Reserves. People just have different risk tolerances, let's say. So that leads you to people with disparate views. You will know that from the speeches you've been listening to from my colleagues. And so we're at a place now where we have in fact cut 2 more times. And we're 150 basis points closer to neutral, wherever that may be, than we were a year ago. And so there's a growing chorus now of feeling like maybe this is where we should at least wait a cycle, something like that. That's what it is. It's just what you think it would be.
Basically,
you've seen it in the September Summer of Economic Projections. You've seen this in the public remarks of FOMC participants, and now I'm telling you that's what you can expect that in the minutes. And I'm just telling you that's what happened in the meeting.
Elizabeth.
Which we want him to
Thank you so much. Elizabeth Scholze with ABC News. What is your explanation for why the job market is weakening right now, and what will this rate cut do to improve the job market?
So I think there are 2 things affecting the job market, and one of them is just a dramatic reduction in the supply of new workers. And that's 2 things. That's declining labor force participation, which is a cyclical thing. And then there's declining immigration, which is just a big policy change that actually began in the last administration, and it has been accelerated now. So a big part of the whole story is that supply side story. Okay. In addition, labor demand has declined, and the unemployment rate has gone down, meaning that demand for workers has gone down a little more than supply. So that's what's going on, but it is mostly a supply function. It's mostly a function of the change in supply, I think, and many people think. So the question then is, what does the our tool do, which supports demand, and and I would just say, when you're in a situation where job creation, if you adjust for likely overcounting in the way that BLS does its work is pretty close to zero. So maximum employment doesn't, on a sustainable basis, doesn't, if you're creating zero jobs, if it's in equilibrium, if it's in balance, it's a pretty, as I said before, a pretty curious balance. So, I thought, and many of my colleagues thought, in fact, you've seen the last two meetings, that it was appropriate for us to react by supporting demand with our rates. And we've done that. We've reduced so that rates are looser. I wouldn't say that they're accommodative right now, but they're meaningfully less tight than they were. And that should help so that at least the labor market doesn't get worse. Though it's a complicated situation, and some people argue that this is supply and we really can't affect it much with our tools. But others argue, as I do, that there is an effect from demand and that we should use our tools to support the labor market when we see this happening.
You also talked about tariffs causing a one-time price increase. Should American household consumers expect that inflation will continue to go up this year because of those tariffs?
So the basic expectation is that there will be some additional increase in inflation because it takes a while for tariffs to work their way through the production chain and finally get to consumers. And we see this now from the tariffs that were put in place now many months ago. We see those effects, but if you put tariffs in effect, they've been coming into effect consistently in February, March, April, May, and that's all happening. So that'll continue to happen for some time, probably into the spring. These are not big increases, though. These are a tenth or so on inflation. They may be big increases on a particular product that's been tariffed, but overall, these are fairly modest. I think some projections go, we're at 2.8% inflation. You might get 2 or 3 more tenths or 4 more tenths maybe. But then, as all of the tariffs are in, they stop generating inflation. You've had a one-time price increase. As long as you're not, at least this is the theory. This is how we believe and hope that it will work out. Once the last tariff is put on something, at that point, it becomes a higher price level, but it stops going up, if you will. Prices stop going up. They'll just be at that level, and then measured inflation will come back down to non-tariff inflation. As I mentioned, non-tariff inflation is not so far from 2% now. Now, consumers are not interested in that story. Their prices are higher. More than that, the reason they're so unhappy about inflation is the inflation that we had in 2021, 2, and 3. Because, you can say that prices aren't going up as much, but that doesn't mean people aren't feeling those higher prices from the inflation we had 2 or 3 years ago. They are, and that's, I think, a large part of why the public, if you sample people, inflation is still very much making people quite unhappy. Even, and it's nice that, that prices are not going up as fast as they were, but they're still much higher than they were. And it'll take some time for that effect to wear off. As real incomes rise, it will feel better over time, but that's going to take time.
Michael McKee from Bloomberg Television and Radio. Do you have any concerns that equity markets are or are close to being overvalued at this point?
We don't look at any one asset price and say, hey, that's wrong. It's not our job to do that. We look at the overall financial system, and we ask whether it's stable and whether it could withstand shocks, right? So, banks are well capitalized, while some households are clearly under stress. In the aggregate, households are in good shape financially, relatively manageable levels of debt. At the lower income spectrum, you are seeing rising defaults, particularly around subprime auto, but nonetheless, in the aggregate, pretty good. You don't see too much leverage in the banking system or the financial system. It's a mixed picture, but it's not an overly troubling picture. And again, I'm not. It's not appropriate. We don't set asset prices. Markets do that.
Well, you must be well aware that by lowering interest rates, you're contributing to additional asset price increases. And I wonder how you balance the idea that lowering rates would help the labor market with the reality that it seems more likely to be stimulating increased investment in AI, which is the rationale for thousands of job cuts that have been announced in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I don't think interest rates are an important part of the AI, of the data center story. I think, people think they're great economics in building these data centers, and they're making a lot of money building them, and they think they have very high present value and all that sort of thing. It's not really about, it's not about 25 basis points here or there. We use our tools to support the labor market and to create price stability. That's what we do. That's our two jobs, right? So we're here by lowering rates at the margin, that will support demand, and that will support more hiring. And that's why we do it. Now, no 25 basis point or even 50 basis point hike is going to be a dispositive thing, but ultimately, lower rates will support more demand, and that'll support hiring over time. And of course, we also have to be careful about this, which is what we've been doing, because we know where inflation is, and we know that, I've told you the story. It's a complicated story, but this is the best assessment that we can make. Because there's uncertainty around inflation and the path ahead for inflation, that's why the pace we're going has been a careful one.
Victoria.
Hi, Victoria Guida from Politico. On AI, I'm just wondering, it seems like a lot of the economic growth that we've been seeing is fed by investments in AI. So how worried are you about what a sudden contraction in tech investment would mean for the overall economy? Is there enough strength in other sectors? And specifically, are there any lessons that you take from the 1990s in how you might approach what's happening right now?
Yeah, this is different. In the sense that the companies that are so highly valued actually have earnings and stuff like that. So if you go back to the 90s and the dot-com, these were ideas rather than companies. And, so there's a clear bubble there. Whereas I won't go into particular names, but they actually have earnings, and, it looks like they have business models and profits and that kind of thing. So it's really a different thing. The investment we're getting in equipment and all those things that go into creating data centers and feeding the AI, it's clearly one of the big sources of growth in the economy. Consumer spending also, though, has been, is much bigger than that and has been growing and has defied a lot of, negative forecasts, continuing to do so this year. Consumers are still spending. Now, it may be mostly higher end consumers, or maybe skewed that way, but the consumer is spending, and that's a big chunk of what's going on in the economy, substantially bigger than AI. You could point to growth. I mean, actually, you may be growth as opposed to level, but consumer spending is a much bigger part of the economy.
And why do you think that the labor market is slowing so much, even though consumer spending is strong?
Why has it slowed so much? Well, what's happened is that the supply of workers has dropped very, very sharply due to mainly immigration, but also lower labor force participation. So, and that means there's less need for new jobs, because there isn't this flow into the pool of labor that, where people need jobs, because there aren't those people now. So there's not a supply of workers showing up for jobs. In addition, demand has also gone down, and so has labor force participation has declined, which is more of a sign, in this case, of demand as well as trend. So I think you're seeing some softening. The economy's growing at a slower rate than it was, 2.4% last year. We think around 1.6% this year. It could have been a couple of tenths higher if not for the shutdown. And of course, that will reverse. But you still got the economy growing at a moderate pace.
Andrew.
Hey there, Andrew Ackerman with the Washington Post. I wanted to ask if you could elaborate on how you think about policy in the context of the data drought. Does it make you inclined to stick with your plans as set out in September in the absence of the data that might change your mind, or does it make you inclined to proceed with added caution because of uncertainty?
Yeah, well, we'll know when we face that question, if we face that question. It'll probably be argued both ways, right? But I've said a couple times here that, if you really aren't getting information you really don't know, and the economy looks like it's solid and stable and hasn't really changed, there will be an argument I don't know how persuasive it will be, but there will be an argument that you slow down when you can't see as far ahead. Others may argue. I'm not sure where this argument will come, but you're perfectly right that you could also argue, well, things haven't really changed, but you might not know that. So I don't know whether we'll face this or not. I hope we don't. I hope by the time of the December meeting we're getting a better flow of data. But if we're going to have to do our jobs one way or the other.
Okay. I also just wanted to ask a FinReg question. I think several years ago you said the overall amount of capital in the system was about right. As the Fed moves forward with a revised Basel proposal, potentially changes to the GSIB surcharge, has that changed at all? Or are you planning to significantly reduce the amount of capital in the system? Thanks.
So there are discussions going on, I think, among the agencies, and I don't want to get ahead of those discussions. I continue to think that the level of capital, when I said that in 2020, was about right. And of course, there's been much capital added since then through various mechanisms. But I look forward to. I know those discussions are really just getting going. They haven't come to the point where they're got a whole plan and that kind of thing. So I really don't have much to say on that.
Brian.
Cut. Just cut.
Hi, Chairman Powell. Brian Chung with NBC News. Is the weakness in the jobs market accelerating, and who's at risk if the interest rate cuts are not the effective medicine for a further slowdown in the labor market?
So we do not see the weakness, as you put it, the weakness in the job market accelerating. I would say, then again, we didn't get the September employment report, payroll report, but we look at the unemployment insurance claims, initial claims are reported at the state level, and we still get those, and we can accumulate them and get the national number. And there's really, no story. You can look at the numbers. Same thing with the job openings we get from Indeed. There's just no story over the last 4 weeks. It's kind of stable. So you don't see anything that says that the job market is, or really any part of the economy is making a significant deterioration. Don't see that. You see more things like I mentioned, though, which is that you see big companies making announcements of either of layoffs or of the idea that they won't need to hire. Their number of employees is not expected to go up over a number of years. There may be different people working there. They say that too, but they don't need a bigger head count. So you see those kinds of things. You don't see it in the aggregate numbers. The layoff numbers have not gone up, but job creation is very low. And the job finding rate for people who are unemployed is very low. But the unemployment rate is very low as well. 4.3% is a low unemployment rate.
So as you make these cuts, is it the lower income workers that you're thinking about, or those who might have their jobs automated? Is there a particular section of the labor market that you're particularly?
So we can't, our tools don't allow us to target any demographic or any income level and that kind of thing. I do think that people, we saw this during the global financial crisis and the long recovery. If you have a long period of very strong labor market conditions, it benefits people at the lower end the most. The last 2 or 3 years of that long expansion, people at the lower part of the income spectrum were getting the biggest benefits, and lots of things were happening in that space demographically, which were very constructive. And we're not at that place right now. But so a stronger labor market is the best thing we can do for the public. It's also part of our job. It is half of our job, but it is absolutely the best thing we can do for people. Along with keeping prices stable, those two things. Inflation also hurts people on fixed incomes more than other people.
Courtney.
Hi, Chair Powell. Courtney Brown from Axios. As you know, the 12 Reserve Bank presidents' terms are up for renewal at the end of February. I'm wondering if you can give us a timeline for when the board will consider those reappointments and whether we can expect everyone to be re-upped or if we can expect some changes.
So it's a process that we go through under the law. The way the law works is we have a reappointment process every 5 years for all of the reserve, each of them and all of them. we're in the middle of that process, and we're going to complete it in a timely way. And that's really all I can say.
Okay, thank you.
Daniel.
Daniel Davis, Agence France Presse. You've now had dissents in 3 consecutive FOMC meetings, but in this meeting you had dissents going in both directions, and you've just mentioned there's strong disagreement over the future path of rate cuts. Have these disagreements complicated your role presiding over the FOMC meetings, and if so, how?
I wouldn't say that, no. I think you have to take what comes, and what comes right now is a pretty challenging situation where we have, first of all, we have 4.3% unemployment. We have an economy that's growing close to 2%. So, overall, it's a good picture. It's a good picture. But in terms of our policy, we have upside risks to inflation, downside risks to employment, and this is a very difficult thing for a central bank because, one of those calls for rates to be lower, one calls for rates to be higher. We can't do both, so we have to balance the two. And so it's a challenging thing, and as we have worked our way through this process, you would expect that there would be a range of views across the committee on what to do and the speed with which we should do it. And that's what we have. That makes a lot of sense to me. All of these people are, people who take their jobs very seriously, work very hard at this, and just want to do what's right for the American people, but they have different views on what that is. And, it's an honor to work among people who care that much. It is, but I don't feel that it's unfair or anything like that. It's a time when we're making quite difficult judgments in real time, and I believe we'll get through this. And I think we've done sort of the right thing so far this year. I think it was appropriate for us to be careful about this. I think it would not be appropriate to just ignore or assume away the inflation issue. At the same time, I think the risk of higher, more persistent inflation has declined significantly since April. And if we do wind up resuming rate cuts at some point, we will at some point. I think we're trying to get to the end of this cycle with the labor market in a good place and with inflation, on its way to 2% or at 2%. So that's all we're trying to do, and we're doing it under, quite challenging circumstances and doing the best we can.
We'll go to Jennifer for the last question.
Last question.
Thank you so much, Chair Powell. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance. Both regional and large banks have taken losses on loans given delinquencies on subprime auto loans. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon warned, when you see one cockroach, there may be more likely. I'm curious how the Fed is looking at these loan losses and if it poses risks to the financial system or the outlook for the economy. Is it a warning sign?
So, we're obviously, we watch these things very carefully, credit conditions very carefully. You're right. You've seen rising defaults in subprime credit for some time now, and now you've seen a number of subprime credit, automobile credit institutions having significant losses, and some of those losses are now showing up on the books of banks. We're looking at it carefully. We're paying close attention. I don't see at this point a broader credit issue. It doesn't seem to be something that has very broad application across financial institutions. But we're going to be monitoring this quite carefully and making sure that is the case.
And then separately, many, you yourself have said that we're in a bifurcated economy right now with high net worth individuals continuing to spend with the lower income pulling back. How much of consumer spending continuing hinges on the stock market remaining strong? In some odd way, does the market help keep the economy buoyant?
So there's some relationship there, but remember, the more wealth someone has, the lower an additional dollar of wealth matters. So your marginal propensity to consume declines quite dramatically as you reach levels of stock market wealth. So, the stock market, it would affect spending if the stock market went down, but it wouldn't drop sharply unless there were quite a sharp drop in the in the stock market. People at the lower end of income and wealth have a much higher marginal propensity to consume of an incremental dollar of income or wealth, but they don't have the stock market wealth. So I think it's certainly a factor supporting consumption right now. But you would see it if you saw a material correction in spending. But it wouldn't be, you shouldn't think that it'll, dollar for dollar stop consumption, because that wouldn't be the case. Thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Tell me in the comments right now, your thanks very much, Jerome Powell. What's up, everybody? Welcome, Oscar here. We just concluded the October FOMC meeting that begun promising and gave us a 300 million liquidation longs. What a gut punch. What a gut punch. Everybody, why you are seeing that major red candle? This is the reason why.
Policy rate there were strongly differing views about how to proceed in December. A further reduction in the policy rate at the December meeting is not a foregone conclusion. Far from it.
So with all that jargon that he always uses, it's just difficult for people to get it. It's like you need to use Trump language, man. Just say, we're not cutting December, period. So we can have a delicious 10% drop in the price of XRP or Bitcoin. But no, he says it in a way that it's like, what? So yeah, guys, as of today, it seems that we're not getting a cut in December, which is not what a lot of people wanted. That is why people are obviously frustrated, and well, I mean, longs just got wiped out, but some of them just started new positions, and then the price is coming back a little bit more. It was nice, guys. We finished listening to another one. I ask you guys to let us know in the comments down below, of course, if you have any questions. Thank you so much, Mansoor. Big clap to Mansoor, one of our members, one of our Discord moderators, and one of my personal helpers in my team. He's inside one of my awesome Telegram chats. So just great people coming in and giving to the community, and I thank you that. So big shout out to you and all my donors, of course, all my members, the new people here. My name is Oscar Ramos, and always here trying to take a look at the latest and keeping you informed. That's my job, and I really love it. So you guys, we have finished almost concluding 2025 with FOMC. Just one more, the December one, and we'll see what brings to every single one. Will the price of XRP be higher? Will we be lower? Will we be the same? I'll leave that for you to answer in the comments right now. I want to remind you that in about 48 hours from now, the 3,000 XRP giveaway ends. Competition, right, which you are gonna find it, guys, right here. I got the biggest $9,000 or so XRP giveaway to celebrate Pumptober. I cannot believe BTCC let me do this. Just click the link down below, which is gonna be in the description, guys, or this one. When you click, oh well, it's not showing here because of my employer's firewall, but you're gonna be able to open it with no problem. And then at the end of the day, guys, sign up. You have till the end of October. Start moving, buy, spot, trade, do as you please. I know it's risky and things can happen, but tomorrow, as some of you know, Donald J. Trump is speaking with China and in Busan, South Korea. So we'll see if he can pump us up a little bit more. TJ, JB, Ghost, Brandon, and the rest, thank you guys for staying here with us. I'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching. Links down below. And honestly, everybody, we had a great time. Let me go ahead and close the poll right now, because the poll we got, I don't know how many 6,000 votes, and with 68%, we got a cut, 12% pause, 8% resign. See you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching. Peace. Let's go and bring it a little bit more blood on the streets, sadly. Thanks, everybody. God bless. Thank you so much. God bless you all. I'll see you next time.